וגם אני פתאום רואה את הקולות.
Hello and welcome to Kolot. This is your host, Rabbi Hillel Kappenstein, director of the Columbus Community Kollel, and it's a great honor and privilege to bring to you our first live episode of Kolot featuring Ohio State Buckeyes head coach Ryan Day. This was a live event that we did at the end of March as we concluded our annual matching campaign, which has a raffle at the end, which is, something we've done for a long time, but we never made an event out of it. And this time we did, featuring Coach Day. There are so many things to learn from Coach Day. And I know it was a little bit surprising to some that we did this event, a Kollel, which stands for Constant Torah Learning. And we did this event with Ohio State head coach for a football team. I personally thought there was a lot to learn from him. And while we have different personal lives, I think he stands for something which spoke to me, and that was his dealing with his struggles with mental health and how he turned things around to help other people and save other lives. I think it's an incredible story. I think it's a mistake to not take it to heart. And if you actually listen to some of his other stuff about how he mentors and coaches his athletes about hard work, perseverance, discipline, and how to use those lessons from football to the rest of their, lives, whether it's being a family, a father, or a hard worker in the workforce. I think there's a lot to learn all around. Nevertheless, without further ado, let me tell you about our guest. Ryan Day is in his fourth full season as head coach of the Ohio State Buckeyes. He was named head coach by Ohio State Senior Vice President and Wolf Foundation Endowed Athletics Director Gene Smith on December 4th, 2018. Day has guided Ohio State to a 34-4 record in his first 3 seasons as head coach, a 23-1 record versus Big Ten competition, including 23 consecutive wins, and a 13-4 record against teams ranked in the top 25. He is the first Ohio State coach to win Big Ten championships in his first 2 years as coach, in 2019 and again in 2020. He has also set the standard by leading Ohio State into the college football playoffs for 2 consecutive years.
So this is a little hard to believe that this is real, that Coach Day, that you came to join us. You're originally from Manchester?
Manchester, New Hampshire, yes, sir.
Okay, so you've been here since 2018, 2019?
So this will be year 6 for us, yeah, my family.
Wow. So what's it like in Columbus, Ohio?
Well, for my family and I, my wife and I grew up in Manchester, New Hampshire, and we were on the same T-ball team together. So we have the picture, and she's a twin, and her sister is on one side of me, my wife's on the other side, and there's like a gap between both of us because at that time we thought we had cooties, and so we didn't want to get too close to each other, but ended up getting married and then starting this crazy profession that is college football. Her dad was a Division II basketball coach up in New Hampshire, and so she kind of understood what that entailed, but certainly not moving 11 times in 15 years. And because of my family, had to move a lot. We grew up in big families, and certainly that was a big part of it. So moving along the way, there's a lot of sacrifices made to get to this point. But what we learned when we got to Columbus is that it's a community. It's places like this that make it special, and that's the way that I grew up, and certainly have adopted it since we've gotten here. But we just really appreciate the community feel of Columbus and what it's done for my family.
That's right. Now there is a real community feel here. You came from playing, coaching doing some work in the NFL, correct?
Yep. Came from the Eagles and then also San Francisco 49ers.
Right. So talk to us a little bit about the difference between the pros and college, that transition.
Yeah, well, I wasn't sure if I wanted to go to the NFL, but I felt like there was the right challenge for me at the time was to go and learn about quarterback play and the pro passing game. And so I went with my college coach, Chip Kelly, was the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, and I felt like that was a really good, stable place. And we actually had a winning record that year, but he got fired. So my wife and I were looking at each other and say, okay, what are we going to do next? And he got a job with the San Francisco 49ers. So we're going to get on a plane and go to San Francisco. So that was not easy. And that year was a challenge. And the same thing happened in 1 year. So what I learned in that league is a lot of things. First off, the professionalism you have to bring every day. You have to be on your A game because it's a very difficult league. It's certainly a challenge, but it's a job, and it's a business, and there's grown men in there who they're getting paid every day, and they kind of punch in and punch out. College game is very different. College, you have an impact on young men. You can really starts in recruiting and building relationships with families and these young men, and then as they come into your family, because they're going from their family to our bigger family. We have 120 guys on our team, 50 staff members in the building, and it's a big family. And not everything's perfect. It's hard. We don't make any qualms about it. We have to win every game. That's part of the job at Ohio State. And with that comes a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety, a lot of back and forth. But along the way, these guys learn different lessons, and you can be a part of that. It's hard to do in the NFL that way. That's the difference to me. The biggest difference, you have an impact on young men more in college.
Right, okay, so now I want to talk to you a little bit about your relationship with the players, but the relationship with the players on the field and off the field. Are you just Coach Ryan Day, or are you a little more than just a coach? Do you have the relationship, about things off the field as well?
Well, nowadays, you can't just be the coach. There was a time where, you used to say, okay, get behind the line because I'm the coach, and they got behind the line and they listened because you were the coach.
Yeah.
Nowadays, they want to know, why do I have to get behind the line? There's just a different generation. And so if you don't have great relationships with the players, it doesn't work. So you have to create trust. That's the biggest thing. And creating that trust is big. It takes every day. And all it takes is one day to lose the trust. But once you have the trust of them, then you can really, move mountains.
And how do you build that trust?
We say that really there's three things, and I think it's the three C's to life in general in any type of relationship that we have, whether it's a work relationship or relationship with your family. Is character is the first one. What is your character built upon? And you have to figure out what you want that to be. Is it integrity? Is it hard work? And you have to really have conviction about what your character is, and then you go about building. And I think there's defining moments when you can really show your character. For us, it's after a loss or after a challenging moment. And I think for all of us, it's, we know when adversity hits. And I say adversity reveals character. The minute you hit adversity, you find out about people. When things are going well, it's easy. But and so character is the first one. The second one is connection. Is having a connection with somebody. Showing that you care about the person across. There's really only one way to do that, and that's to spend time with them and listen. And the last C is competence. And for us, we have to know that we know what we're doing. We have to know our stuff when we show up every day, because it's hard for someone to follow a coach if they look at them and they don't know what they're talking about. So the last C I say is consistency, because you have to bring it every day. But those are the things that we talk about to build that trust. And once that trust is built, then there's love. And in our program, we motivate through love, not fear, because we feel like love is something that can sustain for a long period of time, where fear is not. It has kind of an end date on it. And that's what we focus on every day when we go to the building.
Wow, very. So it sounded like you also covered my next question, which was about core values that you try to bring. So I guess we could skip that one.
No. I mean, I think there's when we talk about core values for us, there's certain things for us that are just non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. Non-negotiable.
What are they?
The first one's honesty.
Okay.
If you don't have honesty, then there's nothing. We can get through mistakes, but a core value violation is a no-go. So honesty is huge. Second is treating people with respect. Especially for our guys and for us women, with respect. If you're going to make a mistake in that area, then that's a major problem that you're going to be in my office talking about. So that's huge. The third one is no drugs, and the last one, is really no cheating. And no cutting corners and no stealing. So, if you have an issue with any of those other things, we can work through those things. But those core value violations are a major issue. And so, we don't shy away from those things. And I even share that with my family. I say that, these are the things that are core values in our family. And I think it's something you grab onto.
How do you enforce that? No drugs, no cheating. How do you enforce that?
Well, you do the best you can to just try to talk to them all the time about it. And if there is a violation that you find out about it, you bring them in. We have a leadership committee that we'll talk about that some other time, but that we vote on, and everything goes through the leadership committee. So if there's an issue with somebody on the team, we talk through it. I give my recommendation. If they agree with it, then we move forward. If they don't, I take some of their feedback. I don't always take their feedback, but a lot of times I do, because if we're part of a team, then we all have to be on board with it. And that's the difference difference with football, is that it's not track, it's not tennis, it's not golf. You're not there by yourself. You're part of a team, and so having that group mentality matters.
Okay, and talk to us a little bit about recruiting. I mean, that's a big part of your job. Walk us through, for those who aren't necessarily so familiar, what does that process look like?
It's a lot. It's year round. We have to. It's about talent acquisition, and I'm sure that everybody who runs an organization has the same thing. They're trying to bring in great people, and so in the recruiting process, it starts early on. We try to identify who they are as players and their abilities, and then we go out to their high schools and find more about them, ask about them. It's kind of like an interview process on our end. Same thing with them, and then when they get to our schools, we're going to show them all the reasons why we think that Ohio State's great. But we want them to come across and choose us, because if they do and have conviction, they'll make it work when they get here. But recruiting's changed, and there's two things right now that are way out in front of us that we got to get addressed. And the big one to me right now is with name, image, and likeness for our guys. It's a game changer. Our guys can now make money off their name, their image, and likeness, and they can transfer whenever they want now. So both of these happened right as COVID was hitting. So it's been kind of a whirlwind here, and the future's a little bit unknown. So we try to put one foot in front of the other without really knowing what's coming next right now. But that's okay. We're just trying to make the best decisions and certainly have a great university that positions us well moving forward. But there's a lot of unknown.
Right, but the NIL totally, changed everything for you guys.
Yeah, it did. And we've, a lot of schools are a little bit ahead in that area because, for whatever reasons. But we have to catch up, and we are. We're getting there. And certainly there's a lot of people that are helping.
So I kind of see life in a certain sense like a football game. You got to work together with people. One of my favorite lines, I got this from a rabbi. His name is Y.Y. Jacobson, and he would say that in life, if someone's trying to, they only tackle someone when he's holding the football, and that happens with leaders. Do you have any of your own metaphors or your own applications to your own personal life that, football kind of helped me, have a perspective on that?
I think when you think of the game of football and just in general, there's nothing that's more true. What I mean by that is, like, you can't fake your way through this game. Everything that you get in this game, you earn, and it will take you to your knees. I tell the guys that all the time. We don't play a lot of games. Basketball, baseball, lacrosse, soccer. These guys play games after games after games. We don't. We practice a lot. We train a lot for 12 opportunities in the fall during the regular season. And you're learning so many things on a daily basis about yourself. And if you don't put all that work in, like this time of year, it's not going to show up in the first game of the year we play Notre Dame. But, if you ever read that book, You Water the Bamboo, for years you don't see anything, but you're watering the bamboo. And then all of a sudden, after a few years, you start to see these things sprout out really fast. And you have to put that work in without seeing the results right away. And in today's society, there's instant gratification all over the place. You have to put this work in without knowing exactly if it's going to work out. And our guys, they want to be assured that it's going to work out. And you don't know that. It only gives you a chance. But those type of life lessons are things that go on, and that's why there's such great husbands and fathers and citizens that come out of the game of football.
Well, I want to talk to you about staying focused on the field. Sometimes, you score a touchdown, and you want to celebrate. You got your dance or your move. You jump onto the stands or whatever. But then you run the risk of, we still got a game to play. Can you talk to us a little bit? How do you stay focused at the task at hand? You can't get too high and you can't get too low when you're down.
Yeah, so our guys, they want to go celebrate in the end zone and do dances and kick the ball into the end zone and all that. And the biggest thing, we just say you have to have the discipline in that moment not to do that, because you're letting emotion play with you and you're not playing with emotion. And so this is just life. We talk to our guys all the time about this, and I do, is that life's a roller coaster. There's ups and there's downs. And when you're down, the best you can do is just hang on. Trust the people that you love and just hang on, because eventually if you just hang in there and put one foot in front of the other, it's going to change. It's like the game of football. When things aren't going well, just hang in there. Just don't give up. Just keep swinging. And that's life, right? And then as you start to get to those high moments, you got to be able to enjoy them the best you can. But you also, you can't rest on your laurels at that moment. You have to continue to be strong because eventually it may start to come down. So you have to be strong. You have to enjoy those moments, but at the same time, you have to be humble. And so we talk all along about that during the season is focusing on the process and not on the results. And if you're focusing on a daily basis on that process and every play like that, then you won't let the past, or the future really affect you. You stay right in that moment, and that's really what it's all about.
I want to go a little deeper on that, because how do you actually, keep your mind focused on the task at hand, even when you're really, really down? And I'm going to try to give context to this question. I'm from Atlanta, and I think it was 2017, I think, in that Super Bowl. This is a lot of trauma coming back, but I think it was 28-3 in the third quarter. And I remember, I was getting texts right and left. My 1-year-old had a Julio Jones onesie on, and it was like starting to become real. You saw Arthur Blank, the owner, pacing up and down like he was ready to push the confetti button, and celebrate. And then they came back, and it was heartbreaking. Not going to pretend, but the day after, we were doing a Jewish learning session with our Bexley public school boys, and I couldn't help but say, man, Tom Brady, he didn't let himself lose focus. He just stayed, right at it. Is there anything that you guys do to try to just literally tune out, whether it's the fans or the media, or just to really, take out all that background noise?
I think Tom is certainly very special in what he does, and if it was easy to do, everybody'd be doing it. But he's obviously special in that area, and I think you're right. I think the best you can do is just continually talk to your team about it and talk to the people around you about it, and just make them aware. And when you recognize something that isn't like that, then you address it. But we use the term "win the moment," win the moment right now, because thinking about the future, you have to plan for the future, but if you sit around worrying about what's coming tomorrow or anxious about what's coming tomorrow, then you're wasting your energy. And so I would guess in that moment, Brady was not worried about what was coming tomorrow. He was worried about that next play. If you think about the past, you just kind of get frustrated. Now you have to learn from the past, but you can't focus your energy on the past, because that's a waste of time too. And my guess is in that moment, he wasn't worried about being down and what happened the play before. He was focused on right now. And so, that's what we talk about, is winning the moment, is just focusing on right now and doing the best you can in that moment. And it's something that I've done in my life, is that when I feel like, we're playing against a really good team, or we're playing in a really, high exposure moment, or, on national TV in the national championship game, or the team up north, or whatever that game might be, is the minute I start to figure, what if we lose? What happens if we lose? Don't worry about that. Just get back into your work and just focus on right now, because that's where you focus your energy. That's where you're most efficient. So that's the term we use, win the moment.
A couple years ago, at a press conference, I think it was a couple years ago, you finally started to talk about something that for a very long time you didn't want to talk about, and that was your struggles when you were younger in mental health. What was it that got you to start talking?
Well, I think when you see the numbers that are going on in our society with everything going on, it's something that we need to address, and it certainly happens with our team, and you see that coming, fast and furious, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. And I didn't want to talk about it for a long time. When my father passed and took his own life, certainly there was a big problem there. No one does that unless they have mental health issues, and I didn't quite understand that growing up. So there was a range of emotions that I went through, and I wish at that time I had a better handle on that. But at the same time, I feel like it's a great opportunity for people to see, the Ohio State football players who are going through things like this. And, hopefully it brings some attention to it, that people are willing to go out and ask for help, because it's almost like the thing that we don't want to talk about. And it manifests itself in a million different ways. Suicide just one of them, but drug use and, alcohol use, or, depression, things like this. So, we all have mental health, we all have physical health. And, if we can really focus on that and get to the point where, if somebody has cancer, you put their arm around them and you hug them and say, that's really awful, let's get through this. If you deal with some of these other issues, it's kind of one of those hands-off things. And I think we're making progress. I think what people are doing in the city is great. I think we're probably ahead of most in throughout the country, and that's great to be a part of. And hopefully we can help a lot of people along the way.
Right. And I think you and your wife, Nina, started something, got involved with On Our Sleeves organization at Children's. Can you talk to us a little bit about what that's all about and what progress you think they've made?
Well, they opened up the first behavioral health hospital in the United States for adolescents and teenagers, which is the second leading killer for folks in that age group. So it'd be great to see somebody else open up across the country, a hospital who does that. It's hard to get a bed there right now. They're busy, but they're doing great work. And it's just an honor to be a part of it, and we're doing a lot of great work. And it's really this community that's built it, because you can't operate something like that because they're not making money off of that. You need the community to build something like this. And so hats off to Columbus and the difference they're making.
And I guess my final question is, what's your message to someone who's going through something, whether it's a divorce, whether it's bullying, whatever it is, and they need help and it hurts. It's tough. What's your message to that person?
That's life. Life's hard. Life is not easy. But if you recognize that it's going to be hard, that there's going to be hard moments, and you kind of own those things, it helps you in that. That you have to be able to lean on people and talk to people, and just kind of make sure that you're communicating with those who need you. And those type of events can make you stronger. Because when you get through those moments and you get stronger, it's just like lifting weights. If you lift, on the bench press, and over time you get stronger. If you, run, you get in better shape. If you work on your mental, capacity, then you get stronger in that as well. And so there's no shame in that. It's okay to ask for help, lean on the people you care for the most. Sometimes, like I tell my guys all the time, you sprain your ankle, you get tape on your ankle, and you get it addressed. Same thing with maybe a little thing that's going on. But if you don't take care of that ankle, it could turn into a big problem. And so, you wanted to get it addressed. Sometimes you tear your ACL, and it takes months to get over. And that's just the physical part of it. And you have rehab, and you have things. Sometimes you have medicine. Well, it's the same thing with your mental capacity. And so when we just talk a little like that, guys who are healthy, you got to continue to stay healthy. If you're healthy and you keep eating well and you keep exercising, good things are going to happen. And we just treat it the same way, mental health and physical health. And so I think more of an awareness is the most important thing for our guys.
That's amazing. Wow. Thank you for coming here and doing this with us. You see that behind you over there?
Yeah.
I think it's time to turn the thing a little bit.
Okay.
But right before that, we have more tickets. Well, this is actually a good time because this concludes the annual raffle campaign for the Kolot. And, this campaign averaged, $55,000 or so dollars a year. And in 2019, the fall of 2019, right here in the first row, a dear friend, Don Garlikoff, had a vision to turn this into a matching campaign. And just like 3 years later, we broke our goal today. We're at like $360,000 or so. So we have a lot of matchers here, a lot of matchers that are here or watching online, and it's because of this idea of trying to leverage and incentivize and encourage people to give and get their friends to give that made this so successful. So thank you for everyone, and I think, well, I'll spin it for you.
Okay, that'd be good.
And this is for 2 tickets to Israel.
Wow.
And
I better dig deep here.
Yeah, dig deep.
Israel. All right. How many am I picking? One?
Just one.
One. All right, here we go.
I hope you could read it.
David and Debbie Grashin.
Ooh. Are they here? All right. Well, Coach Day, thank you for coming here. Thank you for doing this with us. I hope this is the first of many encounters we'll get to have you in the community. And thank you for your leadership on the field, off the field, in the community. You're an inspiration to everybody.
Yeah, thanks. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
To listen to all Kolot episodes and see upcoming guests, visit kolotpodcast.com. We are also on all podcast players. Type in Kolot on iTunes, Spotify, Google, Stitcher, Podbean, and Amazon. Share with your friends, and please make sure to give us a 5-star review. Kolot is a project of the Columbus Community Kollel, a full-time Jewish learning center in Bexley, staffed with high-caliber Torah scholars. Ever since 1995, boys, girls, men and women from all backgrounds and affiliations have found many opportunities to connect with Torah and mitzvos at the Kollel. Whether it's a study partner, an engaging lesson, or a program, the Kollel is your one-stop shop for all your Jewish learning. If you want to know how you can benefit from the Kollel, visit thekollel.org. That is TheKollel.org, and forever be inspired.